Welcome to the Lenox Board of Selectmen's meeting, February 28th. It is now 6 o'clock. I have no announcements from the chair. We have no minutes to approve this week. We're going to do it next week. And so we'll see if anybody, there's nobody here obviously for Citizens Open Forum. So we'll move to the consent agenda, and we have a donation acceptance request from Lenox EMS.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the donation to the Lenox EMS department from the Bishop Estate Association.
I'll second that.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So now I'm going to ask Town Manager Chris Cutchin to explain our situation with the water and sewer.
So, Mr. Clerk, whereas our chair is absent tonight, who's also the DPW liaison, I'm going to ask that the board continue the public hearing. Put it on the agenda because it was noticed in the paper. However, I think you know, we're with another 2 weeks of analysis, we can come up with a little bit more precise of a rate recommendation with a little bit more lead time, I think, for the board to consider. I don't want to say with too much confidence, but I think, you know, water rates as they have been are probably sufficient as they are, but whereas we had telegraphed to town meeting about a year and a half ago, there are adjustments that are in need of being made on the sewer side, and it's nothing that should surprise anyone. We've talked about it for a long time, but some additional time to fine tune that rate adjustment. It's not going to affect anything in terms of what folks are using right now, but for the next fiscal year, certainly we could benefit from a little more time. So with that, so that Superintendent Gopp can attend, Chairman Lane can attend in 2 weeks, I'm requesting the board continue the public hearing for an additional 2 weeks to your next meeting.
Do you need a motion for that?
Okay, I move to continue the public hearing to Wednesday, March 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along, we approved an alteration of the premises for Alta Wine Bar at our last meeting, but the liquor authority has asked us to clarify a few things, so I'll ask Town Manager if he would be kind enough to explain those.
Certainly. So recall that on February 14th, Mr. Tell, who's here tonight, attended and you approved a application for expansion of licensed premises. There was a discrepancy in one of the filings with floor plan square footage that we had in the packet. I didn't notice that. ABCC did. They've asked us to do a clarifying amendment to the liquor license for the alteration of premises. Aurelian has come tonight, and he will be the official manager of record with the ABCC to answer any questions that you may have. But after several phone calls with the investigator at ABCC and also working with Aurelian over the last couple of days, this has been the prescribed remedy.
Thank you. So,
Great, then I move to amend the board's February 14th, 2024 approval of a liquor license for Pharrell LLC doing business as Alta Restaurant and Wine Bar located at 34 Church Street, Lenox, by stating the following. Number 1, name the manager of record as Aurelian Tell. Number 2, confirm the permitted premises as shown on the floor plan as being 3,046 square feet, consisting of 1,999 square feet in Unit 1A, 616 square feet in Unit 1B, and 431 square feet in Unit 1C.
I'll second that.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Good luck this time.
Seems like your investigator was a picky one.
Yeah, I get to see you again, so. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you as well.
You too, thanks for coming in.
Good to see you. Thanks again for all your help.
Okay,
Well, thank you.
we're going to talk a little bit about food truck regulations, and I think Mary Beth is the one that's gonna guide us through this discussion, so why don't you go ahead?
Okay, lucky me. We've had some folks coming in asking about this, how they're regulated, what we've been doing in the past, and we found a memo from the planning board that was sent to us on April 30th, 2019, that was, I think, my first year on the board. So this goes way back into the time machine for me. And apparently the planning board let us know that such businesses are usually regulated by the Board of Selectmen rather than a zoning board of appeals. Specifically, research indicates that Chapter 101 of Mass General Law regulates food trucks as transient vendors, hawkers, and peddlers. And that we are the ones authorized by law as select people to authorize whether they get a license or not. Apparently, we also granted petitioner's license. There was only one application in the past to grant the petitioner's special permit for 1 year only. We did it on a year-by-year basis. So that was done in the interim, looking forward to giving us time to decide how we would like to regulate food trucks. And I don't think there's been any discussion so far. So just wanted to open that up for discussion.
So when you grant a 1 year license, then does that mean they can, for 1 year, put their food truck anywhere, or do they still have to come in and apply for dates and times? And
I think they still have to come in and apply for dates and times because that's the way we've been doing it at the Mount and things like that, unless you have more information on that, Mr. Ketchum?
No, I remember when this issue came up, and then I remember I'm actually recalling a conversation just now sitting here, I think, with Neil, I think, and I'm not recalling details, but I think we were looking for ways to try and help it along, but I don't.
I remember not coming to any.
Yeah, we didn't come up to a firm conclusion. But there's a the statute that Ms. Kieber, who at the time was the chair of the planning board, was in this memo brings some of those memories back. But it's might be time to dive back into this in light of some questions we've been getting recently.
So are the concerns mainly location and hours, or are they more related to what is the business of the truck?
It's basically location,
So,
people coming to use the food trucks and then leaving the premises and going to other restaurants and asking to use their restrooms, things like that. So there's a lot of concern with other establishments that have brick and mortar stores not wanting their businesses to be infringed upon, and how the siting of the food trucks work.
outside of like Apple Squeeze, are we inundated with requests for food trucks to come into town?
I think the only one that I remember in the last couple of years is the one that was down at Cafe Lucia that was placed there at Farmers Market on Fridays, but that would travel to other parts of the county to do business on a daily basis, and it was only there on Fridays.
I believe we were also approached, maybe this predates when you came back on, but we were approached by the food truck that does coffee and smoothies at Lenox Fit.
So we've also had the lobster truck at a few spots up in North Lenox. But when I saw this item on the agenda, I had a brief conversation with Chief O'Brien, who has concerns about locating where these food trucks set up, as to whether or not people will be in the public way, getting their food or exiting it into the public way. So he'd like us to take that into consideration when we, if and when we put together any. I mean, my personal experience was that I was at the lobster truck on that little tiny street between the Pittsfield Police Department and North Street, and I saw somebody almost get hit. They came out. I mean, it's a very narrow street. It's from me to Clarence, I think, and they just, car coming down and somebody walks out. So I think that's an important consideration when we think about,
So we don't make any provision for food trucks in public ways. I think apple squeezes
right.
kind of a
One-off.
yeah, it's an exciting sort of it's kind of like a 1 day or 2 day free for all. But
So would we need to,
where we haven't ventured into is food trucks on private property,
Right.
which I think could become of a spreading nature.
but how do we, I understand if it doesn't exist, and Mary Beth, what you're saying is that we're the ones that should be declaring rules.
Yes, apparently.
So how does that interface with zoning bylaws in the sense that if we, say we made a motion that food trucks may not operate in public ways, isn't that spot zoning and now we're like stepping on the ZBA?
That's a good question.
I'm not trying to overcomplicate it,
Well,
but it seems like it'd be very reasonable for us to make a motion and approve and say, as of now, from now on, food trucks should not be permitted to operate in a public place.
That's possible, but I mean, I think we're responsible for safety of the town residents or the customers of the food truck. I understand what you're saying, but I think that might be complicating it.
Well, no, I was trying to address Chief O'Brien's concern by saying we shouldn't have them, or that you're concerned.
Oh, no,
about
I know that, but, so I think we do have the authority, to say that, but it's a good question.
Yeah, but I think the question expands even beyond public ways, right? I mean, so far, I mean, at least as far as I know, we don't have hawkers, peddlers, food trucks on public ways,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't. I don't think we would want that to become a thing. I mean, my experience, albeit mostly in an urban setting, is they're occupying a lot of parking spots. Well, of course, we certainly don't want that.
No, right.
In our commercial centers, but
Okay, but, so, there's concerns that there is a food truck at Cafe Lucia's property, and that location would be apt to create people wanting to use our downtown restaurants facilities and also be competition for our downtown restaurants.
Exactly.
But how do we make a rule about that that doesn't, because it's on private property? Because I don't think anyone's complaining about the smoothie truck at Lenox Fit because it's not near anything.
Right.
And Lenox Fit actually welcomes it there because.
Or Car Hardware up there at the center, yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
I mean, it just feels like, I make a motion that we say food trucks are okay as long as they're not too close to our other restaurants.
I know.
Yeah, so this is the technical part that needs a little more work, right?
Or does it? I mean, is it up to the individual restaurants? If you don't want to let outside people use your restroom, just post that.
So if Neil bought a lot in downtown Pittsfield, or downtown Lenox, with this express purpose of putting a food truck or food trucks, rotating food trucks in that lot, what regulation could we pass that would prohibit you from doing that?
Would we want to prohibit that?
I don't,
Would we even want to prohibit that? I mean,
That's my point. I think that's your point too.
Yep.
I mean,
What regulation do we
you know
have
better
over
than
this?
I, but food trucks aren't just like, hey, I feel like starting to sell some food out of my truck.
Yeah, oh my God, no,
Yeah,
that's an
there's
investment.
regulation.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
It's an investment, but it's also, you have to be, you have to have a certified, either caterer's license or something else
Sure,
license.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the truck has to be inspected and pass what is the health in restaurants.
The Board of Health.
Yeah,
Well, no, but there's like
No,
everything has
yeah.
to be IHO or
Yeah.
something else,
yeah,
ASHTO or something certified.
yeah, there's a lot that goes into
You
it.
can't just be like, hey, I'm gonna put a homemade propane
Yeah, no.
burner in here.
Yeah,
So, to your point, if I got my license, I mean, I once did have a caterer's license. If I got my license and then built a truck and had it inspected by whoever does all that and did exactly what you said, bought a lot, I don't think that there's much in the way of us wanting to prevent that. Not that I have any intention of
No.
doing so.
I was thinking more of you buying a lot and then contracting with various food trucks to come in for a week here and a week there and whatever, so you have a variety of different foods.
Still, you know,
How does that differ than a restaurateur buying the lot and building a restaurant?
That's my point.
Yeah, agreed.
right.
Although it would have its own restroom facilities, for example, and so, well, I suppose you could put porta potties out there or something, but, yeah. All right, so,
I mean,
I
to-
think it's, we're kind of I'm trying
Yeah.
to getting off the dime here, but,
No,
Do we-
but
do we-
that's good, because, I mean, we've had people come in concerned about, you know, I don't want people then coming in and using my restroom, and like Max just said, then you put a sign on your door, you know,
Restaurant for
no,
patrons only.
no public restroom or restroom for patrons
Yeah,
only,
Or
so,
guide them over to town hall.
right,
Easy, I mean, we're not, it's not huge downtown.
exactly, exactly. So I don't know that there's a lot that we need to do here, unless somebody wants to locate here in the middle of the summer, you know, during Tanglewood traffic or something, and they want to park in front of Lilac Park, which we would
right, we can't do
probably
that.
tell them not to do that anyway, because
Right.
it's the public way.
Right,
So could we start, can we start with a motion, with a amendment, or a motion to say that we, no parking in public spaces? Or are we stepping on the ZBA's toes on that? Or can we pass
I think
it,
it's
can we
clear
pass
that-
it and rescind it if need be?
I don't think that would be a zoning board
I don't think so either.
issue.
It looks like we're supposed to be the ones to make regulations regarding
Yeah.
food trucks. And
Exactly.
I think I was going in that direction and exactly agree with what Max just proposed, which is that as a starting point, we should at least prohibit food trucks from pulling up to a space in front of Trinity Church or Lilac Park. And, you know,
Set
Trinity
up shop.
Church would be like a wonderful spot to have a little truck because all the cars are lined up there on Tanglewood nights, right? So we should prohibit that.
Yeah,
All right, I'll throw another wrench into that, is we do allow it during apple squeeze. So if we have a blanket policy that says there's no food trucks on public ways, that would certainly adversely affect apple
So do
squeeze.
we say?
however, usually Jen comes in with the complete slate of what's going
Oh, yeah,
on
no, I
for
understand
apple
that,
squeeze,
but,
and if she has a food truck, she generally presents that to us, and we up or down that.
yep, but can we up or down something that we've created a regulation for that prohibits it?
So do we say, do we make a motion then to say that food trucks are only allowed on, town property by special permit?
I think that we just continue to only allow food trucks if they come to the select board and request their
For public
presence.
ways.
Yeah, request to be in the public way or request to be in town, in the
Right.
village area, period. You know,
I'm good with that,
And if it's on private land, then it's not our problem?
that's right.
it's not our problem.
Great, I love it.
And, yeah, I'm still a little bit worried about the appearance of conflict there. In other words, does everyone who puts their thing outside with food at Apple Squeeze, like, have a special permit, or, I mean, Jen says who has what.
Board
But-
Board of Health is
I mean, you know,
patrolling apple squeeze.
okay,
Yeah.
because, you know, some of our local restaurants just seem to buy right, stick their stuff out.
I know, because
Yeah.
I've gotten complaints from people
Yeah,
who
yeah, oh, yeah, no, that's
felt they
happened.
were.
And, you know, a couple of iterations ago of Chamber of Commerce leadership, you know, if you were an outsider and said, hey, I do great barbecue, I have a professional license, blah, 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 I want to be at Apple Squeeze, they're like, oh, no, you're not a local restaurant, so forget it, you're not getting in.
Yeah,
'Cause
But
I
we're-
may know someone that might have tried to do that
but we've,
about 15 years ago.
yeah, I think we have decent leadership now in the chamber. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
do
So how do
we
we
need
make a
to,
motion? How does that?
do we need to even do anything?
Well, right now, it doesn't say that they can't be in public ways.
Right, that's true.
So I would move that the select board entertain a select board authored regulation that prevents food trucks from occupying public ways, parking spaces, etc. Except for those permitted by special permit during town-sponsored fairs and other activities.
I'll have to go to the tape to get the, but
That's
I followed it.
Certainly got the meat of what
Yeah,
we
I would
want.
agree,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
Maybe,
So
I'll tell you what,
moved.
why doesn't we let Chris polish it up and vote on it at the next?
Oh, I think it's fine the way
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
I just,
Yeah, that
I
sounds
just couldn't
really
write
good.
fast enough,
Second.
yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Well,
So
we can go, we can wait until that's online, and then we can
That's-
remember exactly what I
That's
said.
exactly
gonna
what I
do.
intend to do.
So you made a motion.
Mhm.
Somebody going to
I
second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
super, thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, well done.
And we have one more,
So in the category of,
Yeah,
unanticipated, or not reasonably anticipated within the posting time of the meeting, we have a one-day alcohol license application for the community center for an anniversary application, and the confirmation of tip certification are provided independent of the regular packet.
Perfect.
so do you have a motion? for
I
that?
do,
Oh.
I move to approve a one-day
Oh, yes, you do.
I'm sorry, a one-day alcohol license for David Morgan at the Lenox Community Center on March 9th, 2024, from 3 PM to 9 PM.
Second.
Discussion, all in
Yes.
favor? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Well, so the tips is on the back, so it's curious to me why he put unknown next to experience in bartending on the application.
Oh,
Is bartender Stephen Bull? Oh, yeah.
yes, identified, but,
He has successfully completed the tips up top.
Yeah, I see all that.
All right.
I'm
What's
just-
your question?
No, it's fine. I mean, but
David
looking at the
David
front,
Morgan probably didn't know exactly how much experience Stephen Bull has.
when he
When he filled out.
physically came into the office and filled it out on Deanna's desk, right?
that's perfectly fine.
Okay. So we have a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, just one more thing I want to bring up. I read in the paper today, 4 o'clock this morning, that there's going to be a sunset on the drink and go from the various restaurants coming up the end of next month. We got a meeting coming up before the end of next month. Maybe you could do a little research and see if there's anything we need to do about that, or the people we need to notify,
I will check on it.
okay?
Yeah, good
Because we
point.
wouldn't want to just send somebody around shutting them down
Yeah.
without telling them about it, if they didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be us, it would be the ABCC, but
ABCC, right.
as good stewards of our commercial district and
Right.
our commercial taxpayers, we should get out in front of that for them.
And if history repeats itself, some people would say I didn't have any idea.
Yeah,
You know, serving alcohol, so.
fair enough.
Okay, so, our next scheduled meeting is, when?
March 13th.
March 13th,
March 13th?
yeah. Yes.
So our next scheduled meeting is March 13th, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.